window to the north. My name is Sarah. I'm an expat. I'm an expat coach. I've lived in 7 countries on 3 continents over the course of my life, and I am here to inspire you to move abroad and experience this beautiful world that we live in, not just through travel and vacation, but also through actually living in new places and really experiencing the culture and the feel of the country. If that is your dream, I'm here to give you information, to help you out and to motivate you and, maybe take a little bit of that fear, because I believe that this is by now we truly are a globalized world, and I believe that it is a lot of personal benefits of living abroad, but also that it is that traveling and expatism is the way of the future. Today I want to talk about how to make friends when you move abroad. Like I said, I've lived in a lot of places in different capacities. I've been an exchange student, I've been doing internships, work placements in different countries. I moved abroad as a child and went to school in different places. And one of the biggest things, no matter which age you are, is of course how, when you move abroad, how to find a new social group. And this is so important for so many reasons. Number one is, of course, you don't want to be lonely. Number two is that we all need some form of support group in our lives. I mean, humans are herd animals. It's very important to our psychological health to have, a support circle, to have friends, to have people to do something with. And if you make friends with locals, you have kind of a cultural broker, what it's called. So somebody that can explain the culture, the mannerisms and stuff like that to you, and therefore help you to understand it, integrate it, and feel more at home in that place. So if all of this information about moving abroad sounds like something that you are interested in, please subscribe below. If you find the information I'm providing helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Click the notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out. They're coming out about once a week. And let's get you on the road to your international life. Before we start about how to make friends, I think it is really important. I read a really nice analogy. Is that what it's called? I hope so. About friends or about people's personalities depending on their culture. And I unfortunately do not remember where I read that. So if you feel that I am plagiarizing your theory, please feel free to, I apologize, and please feel free to comment below that it was your travel blog that came up with this. I'm really sorry that I really don't remember where that was from. But anyways, so it was on a travel blog, and on that the writer distinguished our cultural personalities when it comes to making new acquaintances into 2. One they described as the coconut, and one they described as, I think it was a peach. And the idea was that people or cultures that were peach, like for example most Anglo-Saxon countries, the US for example, are soft on the outside but have a hard core, meaning that it is easy to get to a superficial level of acquaintance. It's easy to start talking to people, small talk, to get, start chatting with people in a bar or whatever and have a generally pleasant time and a pleasant conversation. But to get to that, into that hard core of deep, trustful friendship is very difficult. And then there were the coconuts, which have a super hard shell, but a soft and smushy inside. So meaning that getting into a friendship, into a conversation. Scandinavian people, I live in Sweden right now, Scandinavian people are like that. It's super difficult the small talk doesn't really exist, and it's super difficult to get into to penetrate that outer hard shell. But once you've made contact, it's true friendships, and you'll have a friend forever, a loyal friend forever. So first of all, I guess that is something that one should keep in mind. Depending on where you're moving, you might either be dealing with coconuts or with peaches. And I guess, maybe you don't necessarily need different approaches, but with coconuts, you definitely need to be more persistent in order to create friends or lasting friendships, I would feel, because at the beginning it'll take you to work harder to get into that friend group. But generally, I'd say that there are some ways of moving abroad that make it easier to make friends than others. One would be, for example, if you are in a school setting, exchange student setting, stuff like that, it is easier to make friends because you are in an ecosystem of peers of your own age that typically also still are at a life stage where they have time and interest in making other friendships. So there, if you're an exchange student, I was an exchange student in the US, and it was very important to me to also be friends. We were a whole group of exchange students, and for me it was very important to not just hang with the other exchange students that were German or from Europe, but actually make friends with Americans, with the locals. It's very tempting to hang out with all the other foreigners, and in the beginning that is something that is very helpful because it's easier to make friends with them. You can more easily connect with each other on the common ground of, you know, feeling kind of this experience of exchange. But in the long run, it'll be much more rewarding and much more helpful in terms of the whole idea of cultural brokerage, of people explaining the culture and the mannerisms and thought patterns of a certain country to you, so for much better for you to experience the country if you also attempt to make friends with the local people. If you are in a university setting, something like that, I would recommend, you know, university clubs, different university clubs, sports programs. So there's particularly at universities, there's so many different kinds of activities that you can do to meet other people. So just sign up for something, join a fraternity or sorority, and try to, you know, just be available. Oftentimes I feel that as a foreigner in many places you will actually have a good easy time making friends in that stage of your life because you're interesting, you're from somewhere else, you know, you're the new person, and people want to talk to you about your experiences. So use that. If you are moving abroad, for example, for purposes of work, or you're joining somebody that is moving, like let's say your partner or spouse is moving abroad and you're joining them, then I personally feel or have made the experience that it gets a little more difficult, because then we've reached an age past university where people, for example, at the workplace, the age range is a lot bigger, so you might not have access to as many people who share your age and possibly your interests. And people are so busy with their own lives, you know. After university, people might have a family, they might have to get home to their kids and not have as much time to socialize. In those cases, there's a few things that I would do. Number one is, again, join some kind of activity club or whatever, be that a sports club. I have made in Scandinavia, for example, I've made the experience that joining a gym does not really help. People will come in, go to the class and go away. But if you join a club, like a real sports club, as a football club, I joined a martial arts club before I got kids, where you build this kind of community. That is something where you can definitely make connections and friends on a deeper level. Join some club that fosters your interest, be that a cooking club, a nature lover club, a hiking club, stuff like that. Another here, like I said before, I don't think that this should be your only friend group, but it is definitely something to help you in the beginning, for have a group of peers that understand you, is to find a group of other foreigners. Facebook is a fantastic help here. There's tons of expat groups wherever you go, you know. Just if you want to, let's say you're going to London, Google, you know, expats in London, or you can even be more specific and Google for people in your own nationality. Here in Sweden, for example, there's tons of expats in Sweden, moms, English speaking moms in Sweden, Germans in Sweden, and so for tons of different expat subgroups. There is something. If you are somebody that is accompanying a spouse, that might be something that is interesting to you. And then there is international women's clubs and international American club and international British clubs. So lots of these clubs that you can join of like-minded people that are also going through the expat experience, and those are a great starting point and can typically be found via Google or via Facebook. Then I would like to recommend a platform to you which is called Meetup. Meetup is a great place that is available also globally, that organizes meetups. sorry, and that organizes tons of different things. Here in Stockholm, for example, they offer language exchange, they offer hiking excursions. So if you go on, I'll put down the web address below, the global one. If you go onto Meetup, you can look for your location and your interest, and you will most likely find an interest group there of like-minded people that you can get together with. Another one that kind of kills two birds with one stone, and I found very, very interesting and very helpful, is to find somebody that is willing to do a language exchange with you. So that would also have the benefit that you learn the local language and you get your personal cultural broker. That is something that you can Google, or for example, you could put up a note at the board of the local university or the local supermarket or whatever, where you would ask for a language exchange. A language exchange means that you would offer to teach your native language to somebody in exchange for them teaching it to you. So how that works is you meet up somewhere and you commit to, for example, you speak English, commit to you speaking in English with them, having an English conversation with them, and them having a, let's say it's in Sweden, a Swedish conversation with you. So that way you each communicate in your language with the other one and teach each other the different language and about the culture and whatever. And you know, depending on who you meet, that might actually help you to develop a real friendship with that person. And this is something that, you know, like I said, I would post on supermarkets, on local university boards or whatever. Generally, local university boards are a good place to find activities, even if you're not a student. And I don't mean in a weird kind of stalkery way, but since there is a lot of international people coming to local universities, they oftentimes also have a lot of activities for people or meetups and try to connect people. So that is also a good place to find friends. Also, what you could do is you could join some kind of volunteer organization. So volunteering in an animal shelter or volunteering cleaning up the seas or whatever is your interest group. Join an organization of volunteers, and there you have also a group of people that, you know, share your interests and that you can connect with and make friends with, and you're also immediately more integrated in the local community, which is, you know, of course, a fantastic benefit of making friends and you know, starting to also not only have friends but a sense of belonging to a community, and having these people, for example, that you can just say hi to at the supermarket. Even if you're not friends, it gives a deeper feeling of connectedness or of at-homeness, of integration, if you have this sense of, I know that person, I'll just greet them, or I'll have a bit of small talk with, you know, the mom of that kid or the owner of that dog or whatever, you know, that it integrates you in the community. And that's what that is really good for. Generally, making friends abroad is tough. And I think a big part of that is that it's tough on a mindset level, and that is definitely something that I am struggling with. I'm sorry, we have so many ticks here in Sweden, and whenever I feel something on my neck, I'm afraid it's a tick, sorry. And I have definitely struggled with that too. And where that comes from is, if you're making friends, you kind of have to put yourself out there, because usually when you come somewhere, usually when you arrive at a new place, people already have a certain social circle, and that doesn't mean they don't, you know, want to have somebody new, but it means that they're maybe not as searching as you might feel for new acquaintances. So you're gonna have to be the one to put yourself out there, to, you know, approach people. I personally found that a way to approach people oftentimes is also maybe to just show interest in their culture. If you've made a bit of small talk, show interest in their culture, ask them a bit about their country, their culture, their language, shared interests, and, you know, start making a bit like dating, but, you know, on a friendship basis. And I feel that oftentimes we feel discouraged when, particularly with the coconut societies, that people don't immediately react as enthusiastic as we would hope, and we see it as rejection. Whereas particularly in the coconut societies, you just have to keep offering people. I mean, if it's a straight out no, okay, fine, then, you know, don't become a stalker. But if it's just that people might have to warm up with you, let's say you ask them if they want to go for a drink or something, and they'll go with you, but they won't invite you to a drink the next 4 weeks, or it's you that has to take the next step again. Just what I can recommend is just put yourself out there, just offer. Here in Sweden, what I used to do is offer on Facebook. This sounds so weird, but let me give you an example. Like I said, Swedish people or Scandinavian people are, you know, hard to get to know in the beginning until you get into the core. And of course, having kids is a bit of a different situation. But I would just, for example, offer when it was coming time for vacation from school for the kids, or when the kids had school vacation, I would just offer, I would create a Facebook group for moms of the kindergarten that my kids were in, and would just invite everybody, would find all the moms and invite them and just say, hey, I wanted to create a space. I thought we could drop in here if somebody goes to the playground and wants to invite people to join, so we could connect like that. Because in Sweden, summer vacation is 6 weeks, and that's a long time to entertain kids at home. But that's a different note. So I would just drop in there, hey, I'm going to the playground, would somebody like to join? They'll find me here and there. That was kind of I'm putting myself out there, but I'm not too in your face. People can come, or they don't have to. I mean, you know, it's up to them. And it was a low pressure way of making myself available to new contacts, and actually quite a few people took me up on it. And I have one really fantastic friendship that has developed from that, and a lot of, you know, at least smaller acquaintances that have developed from that. Another way that I did it, for example, is after my first son was born. I felt that, so I was pregnant when I arrived in Sweden, so I never really had the chance to, I never worked before I gave birth, and I never really had the chance to connect to a lot of people. So when I gave birth to him, and after he was a little bit older, I felt like I needed to meet some people, to make some contact. And I was a member of a mom group, an international mom group. So I just put myself out there, and I just, you know, put a post there saying that, hey, I'm a mom, I don't really know anybody here, I need to get out without kids. Is there anybody who would be interested in doing once a month, an evening where we can go for drinks? And it wasn't a huge group, but we were 3 moms, and we made it for almost a year till one of the moms moved away and the pandemic hit. We used to go out once a month, and it was fantastic. It was just, and it, you know, it wasn't the bestest friendship or the deepest friendship in the world, but it was nice. It was great. We met a lot of people, and that's what I mean by putting yourself out there, low pressure. Find a bigger group and just put yourself, offer for people, maybe tell a bit about yourself, offer for people to spend time with you. And if nobody does it, don't be disheartened, don't feel like deeply hurt or rejected. There might be billions of reasons why. Maybe they just don't have time, or they're insecure themselves or something. It's not necessarily always a rejection of you as a person. Just put yourself out again. And that's the difficult part. I know that, because, you know, we feel like nobody wants to always be offering and not getting anything. But again, as somebody that is new to a place, that is, you know, it's the best way to make friends. With that said, I have some friendships that are very dear to me, and that, you know, have really truly enriched my life, and that are particularly fantastic to me because they are like all over the world. It's really nice to have people that you have a connection with in, like, seriously all over the world, and, you know, you can go travel and visit and see and connect with them. So that's a benefit, even though it might be hard in the beginning. It is truly worth it. And with that, I'm gonna leave you for today. Go put yourself out there right now. Go find something to do. Find a club, find a Facebook group, whatever. Make the first step, and I'll hope you find a fantastic activity to do with somebody. I hope you'll find a fantastic circle of people that will support you and that will help you and that you can connect with. That said, bye bye, see you next time.